So, in case no one told you, it is holiday season, and one of my favorite things about growing up in a pretty diverse family was that I got to celebrate more than one holiday every single year. And since my last holiday tutorial on YouTube was a Christmas project, this year I decided to do a Hanukkah project, and I'm going to show you how I made this copper and wood menorah. As always, you can find my full shopping list of materials for this project, as well as a step-by-step photo tutorial on my website by clicking on the link below this video. This video is sponsored by my amazing friends at DAP, and I am so excited about it. First thing that I did was I measured and cut 2 long pieces that are going to act as the actual candle holder itself. These pieces were 16 inches long, and I cut 2 of them. Once those long pieces were cut, I also measured and cut 2 1.5-inch side pieces. After cutting all the pieces, I used that 1.5-inch piece to create a small spacer at the end of the long pieces. This is just going to help with spacing the candles later when we start drilling holes. I then took a straight edge and marked the center line all the way through one of the long pieces. You won't need to do this in both of the pieces because we're going to tape them together a little later. The easiest way to figure out how to space out all of the candles was to first mark the center of one of the long boards, which is at 8 inches. From there on, I then made marks at every single 1.5-inch increment until I had enough spaces for 9 candles. Once my top piece was measured out, I then taped it to the bottom piece. I'm going to be drilling all the way through the top piece and into the bottom piece, so it's easier to help the holes align when they're taped together. After measuring, marking, and lining up my boards, the next step was to prep the drill press. And although I'm using 3/4-inch copper tubing, what that really means is that the inside of the copper tubing is 3/4 inches wide. So to accommodate the copper piping going all the way through the wood, I used a 7/8-inch Forstner bit on my drill press. I also used painter's tape here to mark the depth of where I wanted the drill bit to go, since I would be drilling all the way through the top piece and just partially into the bottom piece. Once I was done drilling the holes, I dumped out any of the excess shavings from the inserts and then removed the painter's tape to separate the 2 pieces. I then just used a sanding block and some 220 grit sandpaper to smooth everything out. After sanding all the pieces, I used DAP Rapid Fuse to attach the small 1.5-inch side pieces to both the top and bottom pieces of the candle holder. I then decided to just clamp everything together to be safe while I went ahead and started cutting the copper piping. To get the tapered effect of the candle holder, I started by measuring and cutting 2 3.5-inch pieces off of the copper pipe. From there on out, I then increased this by 1 inch for each pairing. So by the end of the menorah, I had a 7.5-inch piece smack in the middle, which is going to be the tallest piece you'll cut. After measuring everything out, I just used a handheld copper pipe cutter, which definitely took a lot longer than any other method and totally hurt my hands, but at the end of the day, I was really happy with the results, so it was worth it for all of the patience and the work that went into it. Once the copper piping was cut and the stand was dry, I inserted the piping into the stand by just tapping them into place with something heavy. I worked my way from the outside first where the smaller pieces went, and then consecutively worked towards the middle where the taller pieces stand. For the few pieces that were stubborn and wouldn't stay with a tight fit, I just applied Rapid Fuse to the bottom and created a permanent bond between the copper piping and the wood. I then covered everything all up in a clear coat for protection. Once everything was dry, I just added some dripless candles to the menorah and lit them. One of the things that I love the most about this project is that if you don't celebrate Hanukkah, that's totally cool. You can make this project be a candle holder for your home, or really any special event. If you like this project, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more projects in the future. But until next time, happy DIYing and happy holiday season.